Here are the top stories for today, April 2nd, 2020. President Duterte threatened to order the arrest of people, especially those belonging to left-leaning groups. Local officials would still help in the fight against COVID-19, but their role is limited to assisting the DSWD. The government is exhausting all efforts to reduce the number of deaths of people infected with COVID-19. And studies on how virgin coconut oil could help fight coronavirus disease are underway. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Our top story for today, President Duterte on Wednesday night vowed to defend health workers in the front line amid reports of discrimination and attacks. Duterte lamented how the lives of health workers were endangered, not only while battling COVID-19, but against those who wanted them harmed. This as a male nurse was reportedly splashed with chlorine bleach while walking along the 3 de Abril Street in Cebu City last March 27. And on the same day, a frontliner in a hospital in Tacurong City, Sultan Kudarat, was mobbed by a group of 5 who splattered bleach all over his face. There were also reports of health workers being denied rides and being asked to vacate their apartments.
Yung mga frontliners, huwag kayong mag-alala. I am ordering the police to go around. Huwag kayong standby dyan sa istasyon. Maglakad kayo, tandem, at maghanap kayo ng mga taong bastos. So, let this be a warning to all. Follow government at this time because it is really critical that we have order. And do not harm the health workers, the doctors, and everything, because that is a serious crime.
Meanwhile, President Rodrigo Duterte also threatened to order the arrest of people, especially those who belong to left-leaning groups who will attempt to sow disorder amid the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. Duterte made the stern warning last Wednesday night after learning that there are some people who are trying to mess up with the government amid the implementation of enhanced community quarantine in the entire Luzon. Earlier Wednesday, around 21 protesters demanding food and other assistance were arrested in Quezon City for protesting Sun's government permit. According to Quezon City Task Force Action Officer Rani Ludovica, a leftist group Kadamay instigated the nabbed individuals to stage the rally. Duterte had made it clear that he would not tolerate Kadamay's actions that were meant to put the government in an embarrassing position.
I am addressing the left na yung pangbabastos ninyong slamming about the distribution. Remember, kayong mga left, you are not the government. Naintindihan ninyo yan? Hindi kayo nasa gobyerno. I will not hesitate to order the police to arrest and detain you. So, we are trying to manage na lahat magkaroon equally. Equally is equally. Pera pati pagkain. Ano yung parte ko, parte mo yan. Pero maghintay kayo. Huwag ninyong gamitin ang puwersa. Ngayon, pag kayo ang na-detain, bahala kayo sa pagkain ninyo. Huwag ninyo subukan ang gobyerno kasi itong gobyerno na ito hindi inutil.
Senator Christopher Lawrence Bongo on Wednesday called on the government to take steps in expediting the release of financial assistance to displaced workers through DOLE and DSWD. Go said time is of the essence, especially with many Filipinos have been sidelined due to the enhanced community quarantine. As chair of the Senate Committee on Health and as a member of the Joint Oversight Committee that oversees the implementation of the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act, Gov't said there should be no politics involved in the distribution of aid and that the funds must be allocated fairly and distributed equitably, especially among the poorest of the poor. Gov't said the priority now is to be able to provide immediate health care needs, to solve the health problem and defeat the virus, and at the same time to provide cash and food assistance to those who are affected the most by this crisis. The Department of Agriculture on Wednesday said the country's rice supply remains adequate amid the Luzon-wide enhanced community quarantine. DA Secretary William Dar said around 1.3 million metric tons of rice purchased by private importers have yet to be delivered to boost the country's stocks. This is in addition to the 500,000 metric tons of rice that have already arrived, bringing the total rice imports to 1.8 billion metric tons. This will tie the country towards the lean months.
Ganito po, para mas maunawahan lahat ng publiko, Sir Cracky at Sec Martin, ang na-order na sa iba't ibang bansa, 3 bansa ito, ay 1.3 million metric tons in order ng mga private sector na importers. And to mention also na ang nakarating na imported rice na ang pribadong sector nag-import ay almost 500,000. So mayroon tayong expected arrival nga yung sinabi ko kanina, 1.3 million metric tons. Hindi po tayo kukulangin, hindi tayo kakapusin. Ang national rice inventory natin as of March 2020 ay nasa good for 75 days. At pag ito next 3 months, by the end of June 2020, mayroon tayong rice inventory, national rice inventory na 67 days.
PhilHealth will shoulder expenses and treatment costs of COVID patients. And barangays are tasked to distribute local amelioration forms to beneficiaries. More on these from Ruth Abby Gita Carlos.
The Philippine Health Insurance Corporation on Thursday said it will continue to shoulder the hospital expenses and treatment costs of all COVID-19 patients until April 14. PhilHealth Chief Ricardo Morales said the agency has set the period of shouldering the costs for the next 14 days due to the novelty and the wide range of severity of COVID-19 cases in the country. PhilHealth shoulders all the treatment costs whether the patients are admitted in public or private hospitals. In other news, relief efforts is delegated to DSWD as well as Presidential Peace Advisor and Chief Implementer of government's national policy against COVID-19. President Duterte made the pronouncement as he acknowledged that there are complaints about the supposed unfair distribution of relief by some local government units. Duterte said he already stripped local officials of their role to provide assistance to their constituents. He maintained that he would not allow abuse of power by any government officials amid efforts to fight COVID-19. Meanwhile, the DSWD said it has already downloaded the social amelioration card forms through its field offices to local government units. Stated in the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act, or RA 11469, the poor families will receive the monthly emergency subsidy for 2 months. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Ruth Abby Gita Carlos.
Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles on Thursday clarified that local officials would still help in the fight against COVID-19, but their role is limited to assisting the DSWD in relief distribution. Nograles said the DSWD would wield full control and supervision over the distribution of funds allotted for the emergency subsidy program. This was meant to fulfill Duterte's promise that all financial assistance provided by the national government would go directly to rightful beneficiaries.
Ulitin ko lang ang sinabi ni Pangulong Duterte kagabi. Ang mga tulong na ito ay ibibigay ng DSWD diretso po sa inyo. Tutulong po ang ating mga LGU, pero ang DSWD ang magmamando sa pagbibigay ng cash assistance na ito. Gagawin po ng gobyerno na agarang maipaabot ang tulong sa inyo.
Still to come, the government is exhausting all efforts to reduce the number of deaths of people infected with COVID-19. And former rebels reunite with their 9-month-old child. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Ilagay ang buong pangalan, buong detalye ng tirahan o address, inyong trabaho at lugar o kumpanyang pinagtatrabahuhan, at nakasulat sa malalaking letra. Sunod dito ay isulat din ang pangalan, date of birth, okupasyon at kondisyong pangkalusugan ng bawat miyembro ng inyong pamilya. Ang unang pangalan na inyong isusulat ay siyang magsisilbing alternatibong kinatawan ng inyong pamilya. Inuulit po namin ang kahalagahan ng paglalagay ng kumpletong detalye, kaya't huwag pong lalagpasan ang anumang hinihiling impormasyon. Kapag kumpleto na ang inyong detalye, ilagay ang inyong lagda sa espasyong nakalaan. 2 ang SAC form na pipirmahan. Ang isa ay isusumite sa lokal na pamahalaan na babalik sa inyong bahay at ang isa ay may iwan sa household. Itago ito for reference and monitoring. Ito na ang magsisilbing Family Assistance Record ng inyong pamilya kung saan isusulat ang mga tulong na naibigay ng alinmang ahensya ng gobyerno. Ang datos na nasa SAC ang siyang ipamamahagi sa iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno para sa karampatang tulong. Tandaan, ang SAC form ay isang validation tool lamang na naglalayong makita kung sino ang higit na nangangailangan ng madaliang ayuda. Ang lahat po ay nilalayo naming makatanggap ng Social Amelioration Program, subalit ang pamamahagi po ay naaayon sa lebel ng pangangailangan. Kung kaya't ang inyo pong kooperasyon, pagbibigayan at pangunawa ay higit na kinakailangan.
You're still watching the PNA Newsroom. Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles said the government is exhausting all efforts to reduce the number of deaths of people infected with the coronavirus disease 2019. Nograles issued the statement as he agreed with the World Health Organization that the COVID-19 epidemic in the Asia-Pacific region is far from over. WHO Director for Western Pacific Takeshi Kasai on Tuesday said countries from the Asia-Pacific region must brace for large-scale community transmission of COVID-19. Kasai said the Philippine government should ensure that basic lifelines are maintained to make Luzon-wide enhanced community quarantine effective. He also said the Duterte administration should make careful consideration of the epidemiological situation and impact of the lockdown when it decides to lift the enhanced community quarantine in Luzon. The possible lifting or extension of the month-long enhanced community quarantine in Luzon depends on the recommendation of the technical working group formed by the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases. Nograles said the government would continue to implement measures against COVID-19 until it succeeds in stopping the further transmission of the novel coronavirus in the country. Nograles also renewed his appeal for public cooperation to avoid the possibility that the COVID-19 cases in the Philippines could reach 75,000 by June, as earlier warned by WHO. In Sarangani, a couple who are former members of the New People's Army was reunited with their 9-month-old son on Wednesday. The couple, identified as Bruno and Clara, was deprived of their son's custody since birth. After Clara gave birth, their son was given to a certain family in Alabel, Sarangani. According to Bruno, when an NPA member bears a child, the newborn is immediately taken away from her and will be given to the supporters of the communist rebels in the lowlands. Bruno also said he knows other guerrilla couples who were also deceived into giving away their children for the terrorist cause. Since the child was reunited with his biological parents, the former rebels vowed never to allow anyone to keep their child away from them again. They also vowed to help other NPA couples retrieve their children back by convincing them to surrender and to return to the folds of the law. Bruno and Clara surrendered to the 73rd IB on March 11, bringing with them 2 M16 rifles, a .45 caliber pistol, and other belongings. The couple said they decided to yield after being tired of hiding from the government troops who are conducting combat operations in their area. The couples are awaiting their livelihood assistance and have been enrolled with the government's Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program, or ECLIP. Government troops in Caraga region vowed to continue providing support for frontliners against COVID-19. More on these and other news from the provinces from Rom Dulfo.
The Army's 3rd Special Forces Battalion said there would be no ceasefire in the delivery of support services to members of the Interagency Task Force manning the quarantine checkpoints in Caraga region. The Philippine Army, as a member of the IATF, said it would ensure the security of all task force members during the round-the-clock quarantine checkpoint operations. The battalion would also continue its initiative to reach out to private groups for donations of food and protective gear for COVID-19 frontliners. Meanwhile, some 3 billion pesos is allocated for the Davao region in line with the DSWD's Social Amelioration Program. At least 900,000 families, excluding Pantawid beneficiaries, will receive 6,000 pesos each. The allocation of the emergency fund with DSWD is by family, either cash or in kind, which will be disbursed within the week. In other news, Negros Oriental Governor Roel de Gamo has signed Executive Order number 2020-26, placing the province under enhanced community quarantine for 14 days to prevent the spread of COVID-19. De Gamo signed the EO Tuesday afternoon following a meeting consultation with the Provincial Interagency Task Force on COVID-19, city and municipal mayors, and representatives from the private sector. The ECQ will take effect at 12:01 midnight of April 3 and end on 12:01 on April 18. The governor said that depending on the current scenario in the country on the COVID-19 infections, there could be an extension of the ECQ. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
In our business news, all lenders are mandated to implement a 30-day grace period without slapping any penalty for all loans with principal and interest payments due within the enhanced community quarantine from March 17 to April 12, 2020. This also barred lenders from charging or applying interest on interest, fees, and charges during the 30-day grace period. The IRR defended covered institutions as all lenders, including but not limited to banks, quasi-banks, non-stock savings and loan associations, credit card issuers, pawn shops, and other credit-granting financial institutions. The IRR also prohibits lenders from requiring their clients to waive the provisions of the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act. Under the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act, the government has so far announced the allocation of 200 billion pesos for poor households whose livelihoods were affected by the ECQ. Up next, the Health Department is set to distribute 15,000 PPEs for Filipino frontliners. And studies on how virgin coconut oil could help fight coronavirus diseases are underway. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Tandaan ang tamang paraan ng paghuhugas at paglilinis ng kamay upang makaiwas sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Basain ng tubig ang mga kamay at sabunin. Unang sabunin ang mga palad at ang likod ng mga kamay. Kuskusin na maigi ang pagitan ng mga daliri at maging ang mga kuko. Isunod ang pagitan ng mga hinlalaki at kuskusin ng paikot ang mga dulo ng mga daliri sa magkabilang palad. Banlawang mabuti ang mga kamay sa malinis na tubig at patuyuin ang mga kamay gamit ang single-use towel o air dryer. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Alamin kung paano ang tamang pagsusuot ng surgical mask. Una, hawakan ang mask sa strap at siguruhing natatakpan nito ang inyong bibig at ilong. Tandaan, ang may kulay na bahagi ng mask ang dapat nasa labas. Ito lamang ang tamang paraan ng pagsuot nito. Ihulma ang nose piece o maliit na metallic strip ayon sa hugis ng inyong ilong. Iwasan ang paghawak sa inyong ilong at bibig. Kung marumi na ang mask, hubarin ito gamit ang strap at itapon ito sa isang basurahan. Siguruhin ang maayos na paghuhugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig. Ang surgical mask ay dapat gamitin ng mga pasyenteng may sakit sa baga o mga taong mayroong ubo, sipon at lagnat, mga nag-aalaga sa mga may sakit, at mga healthcare at frontline workers. Maaari ring magsuot nito kung kayo ay pupunta sa matataong lugar. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
At least 15,000 sets of personal protective equipment will be distributed for frontliners after undergoing quality assurance at the Office of Civil Defense. This is the first batch in the 1 million PPE sets purchased by the government at 1.8 billion pesos. The first batch will be distributed to East Avenue Medical Center, San Lazaro Hospital, Lung Center of the Philippines, Philippine General Hospital, Dr. Jose Rodriguez Memorial Hospital, and the Armed Forces of the Philippines Medical Center. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere said the country has almost 2,800 isolation beds at all Level 2 and 3 public and private hospitals, as well as over 1,200 vacant ventilators. Meantime, the procurement service of the Department of Budget and Management is procuring for DOH an initial 1,500 ventilators. At present, the Research Institute for Tropical Medicine can now process 1,000 tests a day, while the subnational laboratories can do at least 160 daily. The University of the Philippines National Institute of Health, on the other hand, is now processing 40 to 60 tests a day. The Department of Health on Wednesday said over 6,300 Filipinos are expected to return to the Philippines amid growing fears of COVID-19 worldwide. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere said the Filipinos will arrive in 45 batches in the next 2 weeks. On Wednesday morning, a total of 881 Filipino seafarers from the United States were repatriated, consisting of seafarers from the Norwegian cruise lines Dawn and Encore and NV Magica and MV Fabulosa. The Department of Foreign Affairs earlier assured that the seafarers would undergo a mandatory 14-day facility-based quarantine. In our foreign news, the ASEAN Coordinating Council Working Group on Public Health Emergencies met via teleconference on Tuesday under the chair of Deputy Foreign Minister Nguyen Quoc Tung, head of the ASEAN Senior Officials Meeting, Vietnam. Participants agreed to recommend the ASEAN Coordinating Council to mobilize the community to curb the spread of the pandemic and mitigate its impacts on member countries. ASEAN countries agreed to step up information and experience exchanges in the bloc and increase cooperation with partners in preventing infections and providing treatment for. They also pledged to ensure safety for medical workers who are on the front line in the battle while maintaining supplies of essential goods for the people and preventing fake news. ASEAN will also intensify coordination to supplement policies and measures aimed at assisting businesses and vulnerable groups in society. A teleconference of the ASEAN Senior Officials Meeting on preventing and combating COVID-19 is scheduled for early April this year. Scientists are working on 2 research studies on how virgin coconut oil could help fight coronavirus diseases. The DOST, in partnership with the University of the Philippines Philippine General Hospital COVID-19 Research Group, will conduct a study where VCO will serve as a supplement to the daily treatment regimen of the COVID-19 positive patients. The other study, to be done in collaboration with the Philippine Coconut Authority, aims to assess the possibility of using VCO as food supplements for patients with COVID-19, as well as contacts and other high-risk groups. Science and Technology Secretary Fortunato de la Peña said the DOST will fund the 2 studies and will also give directions. Earlier, he said the Ateneo de Manila University study, in partnership with the Duke National University of Singapore, is doing a study on whether VCO components could be used as a safe antiviral agent against the novel coronavirus. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. President Duterte threatened to order the arrest of people, especially those belonging to left-leaning groups. Local officials would still help in the fight against COVID-19, but their role is limited to assisting the DSWD. The government is exhausting all efforts to reduce the number of deaths of people infected with COVID-19. And studies on how virgin coconut oil could help fight coronavirus disease are underway. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out more news content, check our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day and stay safe to all.